Yo, Bloomer Deals channel here. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Today, we will be reacting to the Ringers NBA trade value list. This is a list put out by Bill Simmons this Friday. It is not listing the top 100 players in the NBA. They also have that. Make sure you check it out. But this is a list of the best trade pieces in the NBA. So it takes into account your future performance or how well you develop into a player. So rookies, yes, they'll be on here, and I'm guessing they're going to be higher than some of the valued veterans in the league because those players are going to be out of the league soon. These rookies are going to be here for 10, 15 years. It also takes into account contracts because you don't want to be trading for someone and then having to pay them $40 million a year. Or what if their contract expires at the end of this season and now you think they're going to leave in free agency? So this is the trade value list. It's going to be a little, chippy. I don't know if we're going to agree with everything because, this is one person. This is Bill Simmons' trade value list. He tends to overvalue some of the recent guys that have been drafted that he really liked. Evan Mobley. So we'll see where he ends up on the list. But I think there's going to be like 60 or 70 names. Again, I haven't seen this myself, so this is going to be a live reaction. Let's jump into it. Trade value list. Who's gonna be on it? All right. So the Bill Simmons trade value rankings. Woo. Let's go. Honorable mentions. Okay. Not included in the list, but honorable mentions. We got Jared Vanderbilt, Zubac, Big Zoo, Kuminga. I think last year Kuminga probably would have been on the list. But he hasn't been playing that much for Golden State. Actually, he's made the recent rotation, but this was supposed to be the year of Moses Moody, Kuminga, Wiseman. Hasn't worked out. Kuminga dropping out of the trade value list, from my opinion, from what it probably was last year. Dylan Brooks, he likes to kick people in the nuts, so, wouldn't be on my trade value rankings. Seth Curry, almost a 50-40-90 guy this year. Wendell Carter Jr., Porzingis. So these are some of the honorable mentions. Dishonorable. Kyrie, who just asked for a trade. So we'll see what he actually brings back. This is going to be a good thing. Now, dishonorable. Clearly, people would trade for him. People will put things in that trade. But who actually wants Kyrie in the team? Maybe other than LeBron, because that's the only player that Kyrie has actually played well with in his career and done well in the playoffs with. But Ben Simmons, another player that I feel like Brooklyn might try to move him. Maybe trade him to some young team like OKC or the Spurs that might actually be able to rehabilitate him. The Thunder have one of the best shooting coaches in the league, Chip, who maybe can help Ben Simmons develop into a better shooter. Maybe change from his left hand to his right hand. All right. And then, what are these? Toughest omissions. Mathurin. Very surprising. Second, so far, second for Rookie of the Year rankings right now. And maybe even sixth man of the year he might win this year because, guys, Russ Westbrook is not winning sixth man of the year. Let's remember the media votes on these, and the media typically hates Russ. So, I think it's actually going to be Brogdon on the Celtics, but Mathurin's like on the top 5 if you look at FanDuel or any of these other, websites for sixth man of the year. Draymond, interesting. Toughest omissions. Wow. Keegan Murray, another player. I would have thought some of these young guys would have been on the list. Bull, who after a few years of getting almost no playing time, has become a pretty fascinating player to watch. I mean, if you look at their League Pass power rankings, I'm pretty sure Bull's on that. Man, the guy just flies through. He's like, is he little Wemby? I mean, Wemby is going to be better than Bull, but pretty similar players. DeAndre Ayton, oof, tough for him. Wow. 2 years ago when the Suns were in the finals, he probably would have been top 20, 30 on this list. Toughest omissions. All right, let's keep going. Can't spend too long on every person. Group M, Buyer's Remorse. Rudy Gobert. That's going to go down as the worst trade in NBA history. We don't have to talk about it. Everyone talks about it all too much. Let's keep moving. just as we go through this list, remember that as we go up in the rankings, so as we go from 70 to 69 to 68, he's saying that someone would trade Chris Paul for Rudy Gobert. And because Rudy Gobert is lower on the rankings, he's number 70, you're going to have to put in, you know, a pick if you want to get Chris Paul or something. So a straight up trade, Chris Paul for Rudy Gobert, would not work. The team that was trading away Rudy Gobert would actually have to sweeten the deal a little bit more, trade someone else. So CP3, drafted in 2005, and the guy is still balling out. I know his season hasn't been great, dealt with some injuries. You know, he's only averaging 14 and 8 so far this year, but CP3 still balling out. So let's go down. Jordan Poole, interesting. So he just signed that big contract. You see here, salary-wise, he's going to be making next year and the year after $28-30 million. So I think he signed a 4-year, 120 deal or something along those lines. And although he's averaging more points this year, his 3-point field goal percentage, 32. That's not what Golden State was looking for. You know, when he jacks up those 35-footers, but you're only making 32% from 3, that gets Clay pretty mad. That's gonna get Steph pretty mad. You saw Steph the other day threw his mouth guard and actually got ejected from the game because he was so mad at Jordan Poole for shooting a 3 early in the shot clock when they were up. So, again, Golden State, if they wanted to trade for Chris Paul and they gave away Jordan Poole, Phoenix would have to put something in that trade. I think I agree with that. Jordan Poole is more valuable than Chris Paul in terms of the trade value. Okay, I can see it. Bradley Beal, another buyer's remorse. Man is going to be making in 2 years $50 million. Look at that. Ooh-wee. For someone that's a 3-time All-Star, but he's been in the league for, what is that, 11 years? Should he really be getting the Supermax? That seems incredible. Good for him. He's getting the dough, but Bradley Beal, I think I would have him over Jordan Poole. That's right. But CP3 is interesting, man. Like, maybe it should be Jordan Poole, CP3, Bradley Beal. I just think CP3 brings so much to the table in terms of his maturity, his way to navigate the floor, make sure everyone's involved. He's a distributor. Bradley Beal's just going to put up 20 shots a game and get buckets, but I don't know if that's what I want on my team. Zach LaVine, another guy that's making $40 million a year. He's had knee issues over the years. He started off this year really bad, but he's actually sort of, you know, gained some good momentum recently and is starting to look like himself. Zach LaVine, man, it's interesting. LaVine, Beal, Poole, a lot of people pay top dollars for bucket getters, people that can score. And then you realize there's a lot more to basketball than just scoring, and maybe these players shouldn't be making $40 million a year if all they can do is score. I mean, don't get me wrong, scoring is huge, but LaVine, Beal, Poole, they don't play any defense. They're small. They're not going to get their hands in the passing lanes. They're good, but $40 to $50 million a year for some of these players, probably not the best way to build your team. Quality starters. Kuzma. So that's interesting. Kuzma is a better trade piece than Zach LaVine, for example. So this is where salary comes in. Kuzma only makes $13 million a year. So if you get 22 points and you're only paying this player $13 million, compared to if you're getting 24 points from Zach LaVine and you're paying them $40 million, I think I agree with that. I think Kuzma probably is higher on the trade value list. I like that. All right, Julius Randle. He's making $25 million a year, but I mean, he's an all-star this year, clearly. Well, he was just announced to the team, but averaging 11 rebounds, 25 points. He's looking like Julius Randle from 2 years ago when he got to the Knicks and he was on the third team All-NBA team, and not the Julius Randle from last year when the Knicks fans were booing him and he was chirping with them at every home game, which was sad to see. You know what? RJ Barrett, this is my first big disagreement. RJ Barrett's shooting percentage is pretty bad. Every time I look at the box score, it's like 6 for 20, 9 for 25. Like, he shoots a ton, even though he has Julius Randle on his team, Jalen Brunson on his team. I mean, Brunson's a point guard. Brunson is the guy that has the ball in his hand all the time. Interestingly, RJ Barrett's usage this year is pretty similar to last year without Brunson on the team. You know, he's still on his rookie deal with the 10 mil, but the extension is kicking in. He's going to be making 23, 25 the next 2 years. So, RJ Barrett, I think I'd rather Julius Randle instead of RJ Barrett. Like, Julius Randle, his teammates should be ahead of him on the list. All right, Jeremy Grant. Got a Portland Trailblazer in here. I'm guessing there's going to be 3 Blazers on this list, but Jeremy Grant, 21 mil. This is his final year of his contract, so Blazers, with a few days ticking down until the trade deadline, are going to have to figure out what they want to do. Re-sign Grant or trade him now. Again, this would be fun to see how much some of these players that are on this trade value get traded for and see if they sort of match up with Simmons' list. So Jeremy Grant, 21 mil a year. He's scoring 21 points. He had a few amazing buzzer beaters in the beginning of the season. So I like that. Jeremy Grant, quality starter, clearly. Yeah, same with some of these players. These are all the quality starters. That's right. Kuzma, Randall, Barrett. Again, I don't know if he's a quality starter. Gosh, he got a lot of hype coming out with Zion from Duke and Cam Reddish, but I'd rather not have someone that's jacking up 20 shots per game and only hitting like 40% or 43%, whatever he is. So true shooting, he's 53%, which takes into account free throws. So, man, okay, let's keep moving. I don't want to bash him too much. Jeremy Grant. Got Chris Middleton. This gets tough because he hasn't looked great this season coming off his injuries. He clearly was the second best player when, you know, the Bucks won the chip, but now I'd probably say Drew Holiday is filling that role. He's, again, this year, don't really look at the stats, 12 points, 4 assists, 30% from 3, but you know what? I think someone like Julius Randle would be worth more than Chris Middleton right now. I mean, Chris Middleton, you'd be buying low on Chris Middleton. You'd be selling low on Chris Middleton, which isn't what the Bucks want to do, but apparently there's some people that aren't happy with him in the organization, just in terms of how this injury has progressed, so we'll see. Jared Allen at 60. Wow, I thought he was going to be higher on the list. I thought I'd see him in the 30s or 40s. Jared Allen, the anchor to one of the best defenses in the league in the Cleveland. Now, Evan Mobley gets a lot of the credit for what Jared Allen does, and Evan Mobley's amazing, but Jared Allen is probably the best defender on the team, and then Mobley would be second. Now, they're both great shot blockers, both disrupting anyone that's going to the hoop. You know, obviously, Mobley has a lot of room to grow in terms of getting buckets, and none of them, you know, are averaging that many points. He's 14 for Jared Allen, but it will be interesting to see the difference between Mobley and Allen on this list, and I don't think they're that far apart in terms of players. I mean, Mobley's younger, he's got room to grow, but Jared Allen's a really, really good NBA player. Again, a quality starter, and I agree with this in terms of this category, but God, I'm just priming myself. I know Mobley's going to be crazy high on this list because Simmons loves the guy, but Simons. So Anthony Simons, one of my favorite young players in the NBA. He's averaging 22 points from 38 from 3, 4 assists, and the Blazers gave him contract either this summer or the beginning of last summer, and he's making 24, you know, roughly $22 to $24 million a year. Tough to build a backcourt with Simons and Lillard when they're both pretty small. Here, Simons is 6'3", you see, and not great defenders. So I don't know how well the Blazers can do with those two in the backcourt, especially with Shaedon Sharpe, who's not that huge himself. I'm guessing he's going to be on this list. But you know what? If Shaedon Sharpe is on this list, Simons better be higher, but I haven't seen Shaedon Sharpe yet. So I mean, Simmons is a bucket, man. 22 points per game. Like, everyone loves some of these young players, and I guess they would get a lot on the market, but if I was trading for Anthony Simmons right now, I'd give up more than what I would give up for James Harden. So I actually don't really like that. Like, Simmons has a lot of room to grow, but he's also established at the same time. And James Harden, fizzles out in the playoffs. Do you really want to win your team? How many times have we seen it? 10 years in a row? 12 years in a row? You just can't trust on him. I'd rather trade for Simmons than trade for Harden. If the Portland Trailblazers offered Anthony Simmons to the 76ers for James Harden, I think the 76ers should say yes to that. So then I think I'd flip these two on the list. All right, let's keep moving. DeRozan, tough. Tough to play with DeRozan because he doesn't space the floor. He's not a good three-point shooter, but amazing in the mid-range. But again, doesn't fit with someone like the Lakers. So they wouldn't want to trade for him. Doesn't fit with someone like Toronto that has a lot of mid-range type shooters like Scotty Barnes. So DeRozan's on this list. Again, I'd rather have Simmons than DeRozan. I think Simmons is going to be too low on this list. We're going to have to move him up. All right, let's keep going. Maxi's on this list. So I like that Maxi's ahead of Harden on his own team. I totally agree with that. I do think Maxi is more valuable of this player. I know he's coming off the bench right now as a sixth man, but he's playing amazing in that role, and I'm really glad he's not let that sort of get to his head, and he's just balling off the bench. Like, he's playing great. Tyler Hero, okay, I have a problem with this one. I'd rather have Maxi than Hero. I'd put Maxi higher. I'd rather have Simmons than Hero. I mean, Hero's okay. Again, he's 20 points, but 20 points on a team that doesn't have much scoring. They have Bam, who, he's 15, 16 a game. They have Jimmy Butler, but he's injured half the games. So Tyler Hero puts up a lot of shots. I mean, he's going to score. He's a good scorer, but like, Simmons has Lillard in the backcourt and Jeremy Grant. If he was on the Heat, Simmons would be averaging 26. I mean, he's already averaging 23 on the Blazers, which have some of the best scorers in the league. So I think this is a case of Miami making Tyler Hero look better than he is. And some people think he's getting the max in a few years. And I actually think this summer he's eligible for an extension. So, yeah, Tyler Hero, I think, is overrated. Let's keep moving. Jalen Brunson. So I do like that Jalen Brunson is ahead of RJ Barrett, of course, but also ahead of Julius Randle. I mean, I think he's their most important Nick. The Mavs dropped the fucking ball. I can't believe they traded him. I can't believe they let him walk in free agency. The Mavs this year, I mean, Jalen Brunson clearly emerged last year as a star, and I think this year he's clearly a star. Probably the biggest snub for the All-Star team. The Mavs could have had him. The Mavs have no one. Their second best player is Dinwiddie or Christian Wood. They could have had Jalen Brunson. So he was, I think, in the talks with the Mavs the beginning of last season for like a 5-year, $60 million contract or something like that. Something like 4 years, $60 million. So 15 a year. Mavs said no. They wanted to see him play better in the playoffs, which he did play amazing last year. And so then he was like, well, now I deserve more money. So the Knicks are paying him, you can see here, 27, 26, 25 million. The Knicks are paying him 12 million more than the Mavs could have got him for. They dropped the ball. But he's an amazing player. Glad to see he's 54 on this list before some of his teammates. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox. Wow, Wiggins is 52. Ooh wee, really? I mean, he played great in the playoffs last year, but as a third or fourth best player, I mean, maybe third best player. Obviously, Steph won. I mean, Poole was very important last year. Draymond was clearly still important. Clay. Again, Wiggins, when he was on Minnesota, it was okay. Nothing special. Everyone wanted him to do more and more. At this point, he was drafted in 2014. He is what he is. I put Fox ahead of him. I put Simmons ahead of him. I mean, Fox's clutch time stats this year are absurd. De'Aaron Fox is playing amazing this year. Another snub. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's easier for forwards to get into the All-Star game this year. You can see Julius Randle got in, but Brunson didn't. Sabonis got in, but Fox didn't. There's a lot of guards in the league. I feel like the All-Star, ballot should change to be non-positional. But anyway, I think Fox should have gone in over Paul George, who probably got in as a guard. But it is what it is. I think Wiggins is too high on this list. All right, the upside gang. Wow. Okay, so this is where we're getting into young players, have a lot of upside, that I think he values the upside gang too high. Jalen Williams, so one of the two Jalen Williams on the OKC. Oh, Walker Kessler. All right, so this is fine, man. Walker Kessler, 50th on the list. He was one of the trade pieces that Minnesota gave up to get Rudy Gobert. So it was Walker Kessler, it was 4 first-round picks, and it was Pat Bev, Malik Beasley, and I think one other person. Jared Vanderbilt, that's who it was. And now Walker Kessler is 20 spots more valuable on the trade value list than Rudy Gobert. So right now, if Minnesota said, hey, Utah, we'll give you back Rudy Gobert, just give us back Walker Kessler. You can keep the 4 first-round picks, keep Malik Beasley, keep everything from that trade. We'll give you Rudy Gobert, let us have Walker Kessler back. Utah would say no. That's pretty crazy. Just the 1-for-1 of those two players. Walker Kessler is playing better this year than Rudy Gobert. And he was one of 5 picks that were included and players. Wow. Utah really came out on top of that one. Worst trade in NBA history. I said we weren't going to talk about it. We are. Shannon Sharpe. Oh, there we go. I knew it. Shannon Sharpe is ahead of Simmons on the list. I really don't like that. Look at this. 7.7 points per game. I know he's coming off the bench. I know he's not playing that many minutes, but he's flashed. He has a lot of highlights, a lot of huge dunks. He didn't really play in college, right? I think he went to Kentucky, but then he didn't actually play for them, something like that. So, oh gosh. Look at this. He's already shown off some high-end hang time stuff on the young Kobe UNC Vince level. Yeah, he's a highlight machine. I'd rather have Simmons, who averages 23 points per game. Shannon Sharpe's too high on this list. Jabari Smith Jr., known as one of the better shooters coming out of the draft, but he's averaging 30% from 3. Jalen Green at 47. I would have Jalen Green actually much higher. Wow. Jalen Green only at 47. We're going to see who's behind him, or who's in front of him. And I think I'm going to want to move Jalen Green up. All right, let's keep going. Scotty Barnes. Okay, well, maybe not for Scotty Barnes. So this draft is crazy, man. Jalen Green at 2, I believe, and Scotty Barnes at 4. This was a good draft. Jalen Green, Scotty Barnes are only 46 and 47. I mean, Scotty Barnes. This summer, when KD requested a trade, people were saying the Raptors should not trade Scotty Barnes for KD, shouldn't include him in the package that goes and gets KD. And he's only 46 on this list. Like, literally this summer, where people were saying Scotty Barnes for KD, Toronto should not do it. He's only 46? Let's keep moving. Cade at 45. All right. These 3. Woo-wee. Okay, so again, let's keep this in mind. Jalen Green, 47. Scotty Barnes, 46. Cade Cunningham, 45. And where's Mobley? Not here. I'm guessing he is way higher on the list. I think I might rather have Scotty Barnes than Mobley. Maybe Jalen Green than Mobley. I mean, Jalen Green has shown some of the best flashes, explosiveness, shooting. He's just on a team that has no structure, no good coaching, no good, culture. Jalen Green is much better than he showed. He's still averaging 22 and 4. So, oh man, Mobley's going to be high. Okay, Group J, sorry, he's worth way more to us than to you. Okay, so this is, now Draymond's not on the list, but he would sort of come in this category. Marcus Smart, I agree. Amazing player. Boston needs him. He's the heart and soul of that team. 44 on the list. I mean, if I was Boston, I'd rather have Scotty Barnes than Marcus Smart. I'd trade him right now for Scotty Barnes if I could. 1 for 1. But Smart is higher on the list than Cade? Than Barnes? Than Jalen Green? Wow. Wow. I think he's overvaluing Marcus Smart. I mean, we know he's a Boston guy, but like, I mean, I'm a Boston guy. I'm a Celtics fan, but wow. Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart. Ahead of Cade Cunningham? Who might become more, I mean, a amazing distributor and shot creator and leader of the Pistons in the future. Scotty Barnes, who might be an all-star in a few years. I mean, Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year, probably shouldn't have won it last year. I think people wanted to see a guard win it last year. Same with Mikal Bridges. He almost won it last year, but wow, Marcus Smart's high on this list. Mikal Bridges. OG Anunoby. Interesting. Anunoby is 42nd when there's talk that he might be traded for 3 first-round picks. 3 first-round picks. It only gets you 42nd. So what would Jamal Murray go for? 4 first-round picks? I mean, I don't know. We'll see. So OG Anunoby, I think, is too low on the list. I think he should go higher. Jamal Murray started off the year really bad. He's still coming off that injury, but as of late, woo-wee, he's looking good. Jamal Murray could go higher on this list. Kawhi Leonard drops to 40. A few years ago, he would definitely be higher. Just not dependable. Always hurt. I don't think he's having new injuries. I think it's just a degenerative knee thing. I mean, I don't think his knees will ever be the same. I don't think he'll ever be able to get through 4 weeks of playoff basketball. I mean, that's tough. Kawhi at 40, it's tough. I mean, he's been playing well recently, but again, it's gonna fizzle. So I think it's interesting because he's valuing some of these rookies that have like not flashed that much, like Jalen Williams at 51. But then he's undervaluing some of the young players that have been amazing, like Jalen Green and Scotty Barnes. And then overvaluing some of these role players. I mean, Marcus Smart's a role player. But OG Anunoby's not a role player. He should be higher. All right, let's keep moving. DeJounte Murray, he just got traded for, 3 firsts this summer. So I guess this is the 3 first group right here. Between OG Anunoby, who might be traded for 3 firsts, and DeJounte Murray. I love DeJounte Murray. It's tough to see him playing alongside Trey, because Trey just has the ball all the time, but let's keep it moving. Desmond Bane at 37, drafted 30th in his draft 2020, and known as the little raptor because people make fun of his small arms, but we're not going to do that. So he's an amazing shooter, 42% from 3 this year. I actually think he's pretty close to being the 50-40-90 club this year as well. But Desmond Bane, 37. LeBron James at 36. I just saw that. Wow. Okay. So 38-7 as a 38-year-old. And 36 on list. I mean, you don't think that some players would want LeBron James on his team now because that means a potential championship? I mean, the Lakers suck, don't get me wrong, but 36, ooh. Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see who's in front of him. All right, let's keep going. Group I, too young, too cheap, too good. Please stop calling us. Chet Holmgren never played a minute in an NBA game, but has a ton of potential, and I think the SGA, Giddey, Chet is the core, and they'll trade anyone except for those 3 players. And they have a ton of first-round picks. They have a ton of salary space because they're not really paying that many people. So Chet, SJ, and Giddey, those three are going to make a great core of a franchise. Hey, kitty. I'll pet you later. Okay, so OKC. Would they trade Chet for LeBron? Wow, I guess not. I mean, their timeline isn't winning right now. They want Chet to develop. So, okay, I'll go with it. Giddey. Okay, so his teammate, Josh Giddey. I think Giddey is an amazing player. He's going to be the triple-double machine of the NBA in a few years. He still has to learn to shoot, but Giddey is an amazing player. The thing is, Giddey over Scotty Barnes? Giddey over Cade Cunningham? Giddey over Jalen Green? I don't know. I think you can argue it, but I think Giddey should probably, and maybe even Chet, should be in this group with these young players. Wow. Giddey is high on this list. Well, I got a few Giddey rookie cards, so happy about that one. LaMelo Ball. This one I don't see. I think he should be lower on the list. LaMelo, I don't really value him. I mean, he's a good stats, bad team kind of player, I think, at least. I don't see him being a good fit on any winning basketball team. But that's my perspective. We'll see how he develops. I mean, he's 33. He's ahead of, again, I don't mean to go back to these players, but I'd rather have Cade Cunningham than LaMelo Ball. I'd rather have Scotty Barnes than LaMelo Ball. I'd rather have Simmons than LaMelo Ball. All right, let's keep moving. Lauri Markkanen, wow, probably one of the biggest jumps from last year to this year in terms of player production. He's amazing, and he's actually getting better. Like in the past month, he's averaging 27, I think, compared to his season average of 25. And he's cheap, man. He's cheap. Wow, Markkanen. Utah is looking good. Sabonis ahead of him. That makes sense. I mean, Sabonis... Okay, so the Sabonis-Halliburton trade was the deadline trade of last year that no one saw coming. The Kings traded Tyrese Halliburton, one of the budding young stars in the NBA, the assist leader this year, just second to James Harden, for Sabonis. And, you know, from the Kings' perspective, they had De'Aaron Fox, but Fox wasn't playing that well last year. They drafted Davion Mitchell, but he was okay. I mean, he was a role player off the bench, good defender. They got rid of Tyrese Halliburton, who I know is going to be higher on this list, for Sabonis. I mean, it's worked well. The Kings have been amazing this year. So it's one of those win-win trades, but it's like, I can't believe they got rid of Halliburton, man. No one knew the Kings were willing to trade Tyrese Halliburton. If they knew that, the Kings maybe could have gotten more than what they got from Indiana in terms of Sabonis. If people knew Halliburton was available, people would be fishing out. I mean, they would be dishing out things to get Halliburton. Anyway, we have to see Halliburton higher on this list because I haven't seen him yet. Paul George. Interesting. So Paul George at 30, All-Star this year. Didn't see it, but Paul George at 30. But LeBron was at 36. Paul George at 30. But Kawhi was at 40. Interesting. I mean, Paul George has the same injury concerns. Look at this. Look, he's missed 110 games accounting in the 4 Clippers season. I mean, I don't think I'd have Paul George at 30. I mean, to be honest, I'd rather have Chet than Paul George. The potential of Chet I'd rather have than the contract of $45 million per year plus the injury risks of Paul George. Chet Holmgren. Group G, if you tell Woj, I'll deny it to the death, but I'm listening. This might have to change to Shams soon, man. If you tell Shams, I'll deny it to death, but I'm listening. I'm going to change it myself. Trae Young. Oh, no. So Trae Young is ahead of DeJounte Murray. To be honest, I'd give up Trae Young. If I was Atlanta, I'd move forward with DeJounte Murray, and I'd trade Trae Young right now. He's not a winning basketball player. I mean, there's a reason he didn't make it onto the All-Star team this year. So you guys know that starters of the All-Star team, it's a combination of fan, media, and player votes. But the reserves is based on coaches. Coaches didn't vote Trae Young in. There's a reason. He plays no defense. He's small. He jacks up 35-footers all the time. He can score. He gets a ton of assists. He's an NBA player for sure, but not a leader of your team. I mean, there's been rumors all year and, you know, valid news reports that he hasn't gotten along with the coaching staff. I mean, if I was a coach, I would hate him to be my player, man. So so Atlanta. I think trade might be moved in the next year. Not this trade deadline, maybe this summer, maybe next year. And they could have had Luka. They could have had Luka. Tough look. Tough look for Atlanta. Could have had Luka Doncic on this team right now. Wow. All right. Pascal Siakam at 28. Whew, this is interesting. So Siakam, I think, was All-NBA third team last year. He's being paid like a superstar. I mean, it's 35, 37 mil. You know, not the 40 like a Paul George or something, but he's an amazing player. He's long. He's 6'8". His wingspan's probably, 7 foot or something, but 25 points, 8 rebounds, really good player. It's just weird, man, Toronto this year. Like, they got Siakam. They have Van Vliet, Gary Trent Jr., Scotty Barnes, Boucher. Like, they have really good players. So why aren't they winning? Is it Nick Nurse's fault? I don't know. I feel like everyone thinks Van Vliet's going to get traded. Everyone thinks Gary Trent Jr. is going to get traded. Oh, I didn't even mention OG Anunoby right there. Everyone thinks OG Anunoby is going for 3 first-rounders. But OG Anunoby was in like the 40s on this list. So what would Siakam go for? There's no way he's going for 4 first-rounders. Interesting. I just think Toronto should be better. I don't know what it is, but they have great players. They're just not playing that well. So Cat, I think they're trading Cat. I don't think Cat and Gobert can coexist, and they need to utilize how well Anthony Edwards is playing. Cat might be gone. Ooh, in 2 years he'll be getting 50 mil. Oh, that's rough. All right. Group F, the 14% chance for Wemby. Oh, gosh. So Wemby gets his own... The potential for Wemby, 14, which is the bottom 4 teams in the NBA, they all have a 14% chance of the top pick, which is going to be Victor Wembanyama. The chance of potentially getting Victor Wembanyama is more valuable than Chet Holmgren, who was the 2nd pick last year, or Jabari Smith Jr., who was the 3rd pick last year. Things change a lot in 1 calendar year. Let's keep it moving. Group E, let me save you some time. Fuck no. Franz Wagner. Wow, what an ascension. He was drafted 8 overall, the same draft with Mobley and Scotty Barnes and Cade Cunningham. And he's now, I guess, an untouchable. A fuck no. I mean, he's playing amazing. Him and Banchero together, oh, they're going to be an amazing front court and amazing, well, to be honest, so Franz is 6'10", but he handles the bar. He is just as, engaged in distributing and playmaking as some of the guards in this league. So, Jaren Jackson Jr. So he's leading the Grizzlies to be the best defensive team in the NBA. And interestingly, he hasn't missed that many games this season, but if you look at overall minutes, he hasn't played that many minutes because he's always in foul trouble. He is always in foul trouble. And it's tough. I mean, he's a good defender, but at the expense of fouling people all the time. So, we'll see. All right, let's keep moving. Drew Holiday, 23. Really, really, really good player. Amazing defensive player. Averaging 20 points per game this year, which is what the Bucks needed. The thing is, I was hoping for more. With no Middleton, Giannis out some games, I thought Drew would be shooting more, initiating more, but he hasn't been. So, 23, I think, is a little high for him on this list. Mitchell, 70-point game this year, and 22nd? That means we have a lot of really good players in the NBA. Lillard, 21. I actually think Mitchell would go for more than Lillard would go for. I think, Lillard's averaging more points. We've seen him in the playoffs have the goodbye. You know, he's an amazing player, but I don't know. I mean, he's been in the league a long time. Lillard is younger. Again, 6 years younger. Mitchell is younger, 6 years younger. I think I'd rather Mitchell than Lillard. Both amazing scorers, but I think I'd rather Mitchell. All right, let's keep moving. Garland, wow. Garland over Mitchell on this list. Wow. So Garland's younger, a little cheaper, but over Mitchell? Over the player that scored 70 on his own team? Oh my gosh. So we have Mitchell, Garland, and then Mobley's not even on here, which means Donovan Mitchell is going to be the third trade chip on the Caps. The third highest. After Mobley and Garland. There's no way. There's no way. I don't like that. Garland should be lower. All right, Bam. So I like that Bam's ahead of Jaren Jackson Jr. They're both the sort of defensive anchors for their teams, but I think Bam brings more to the table offensively, and we've seen him do it in the playoffs. I mean, he did it to Boston. He's done it. He did it on their run to the finals when they lost to the Lakers. He's a great player. Anthony Davis at 18. Again, how is Davis at 18 but LeBron's at 36? I mean, Davis is always injured. It's just inevitable he's going to get injured. The fact that he went 4 weeks in the bubble for that chip without getting injured, because he had like 5 months off during the pandemic before they went to the bubble. There's no way Davis should be 18. So Jimmy Butler, 17. I agree with that. I think a lot of teams would trade for Jimmy Butler right now. He's just a dog. I mean, in the playoffs, he's amazing. Like, no one... He elevates his game in the playoffs compared to the regular season more than maybe anyone. His stats, just his intensity. And it's not that he takes the regular season lightly. He just, in the playoffs, he's a beast, man. All right, Jaylen Brown is 16. Ooh, I love Jaylen Brown. 16. That's high. We saw last year in the finals, in the whole playoffs run, he was turning the ball over a lot. Thing is, he's 27 points per game this year, and he's getting better every year. All-star for the second time this season. I think should have been started over Kyrie. Kyrie, that was blasphemous. We'll look past that. Budding franchise guy, Paolo. I'm not surprised. I think Paolo is valid to be this high on the list. Halliburton, again, valid to be this high on the list. These two players, very different players, but just two young, amazing NBA cornerstones to your franchise. Paolo and Halliburton. I think Halliburton should be higher, like he is. I think he has shown more than Banchero has. Yeah, and this is Banchero's rookie season, so it's not surprising. But Halliburton's, his assists this year, he's playmaking crazy, and his shot is good. Look at that, 40% from three. Like, he can shoot. The shot's a little slow. It's a little funny. It's from a little low angle, but amazing player. So, there we go. Mobley at 13. One spot ahead of Anthony Edwards. What? We gotta see what he reads about Evan Mobley. Still my guy. The road to Tim Duncan 2.0. Hit some hot potholes in year 2. Yeah, you think? The guy cannot shoot. He still can't shoot threes. He's still too damn skinny. They barely run plays for him, and he doesn't have a nickname or an acronym yet. Whatever. He's more mellow KG than Duncan 2.0, to be honest. I'm still all in. Like, all the way the fuck in. This kid has it. Did you see the Miami game on Tuesday? We have a 22-12-7, 59% field goal, defensive player of the year situation looming someday. It's funny when you point to one game, you know that one game he scored 38? Yeah, what about all the players that score that, like, every other game? I know he's going to be a defensive Player of the Year candidate in the few years. But again, he's got Jared Allen on the team, who's pretty much the same thing as Mobley, to me at least. I mean, I do think Mobley's better. He's more versatile. He can move a little bit better. And hopefully he develops more post moves. Hopefully he can shoot. I think he's like 20 or 30, less than 30% from beyond the arc this year. So 13 for Evan Mobley. I knew it was coming, you guys. I knew it. Simmons talks about him all the time. I'm not going to harp on it too long. Let's go Ant-Man at 12. Not much you can say. I mean, there's no way Minnesota's trading him. They'll trade everyone on the team before they trade him. The thing is, he might ask for a trade if they keep looking like this. Group C, SGA, averaging more than 30 points per game this year. Guess like every time I look at the box score, he's got like 38, and his true shooting is probably great. What is it, 62% true shooting percentage? He doesn't overshoot, and he always shoots by the rim. Like, he gets to the rim at will. So that's why his shooting percentage is so good. He's just always shooting layups because he can get past anyone so easily. So KD at 10. That's interesting because, you know, when he went on the trade block this summer, when he asked for a trade, you didn't really hear about a lot of teams wanting to get, I mean, you heard about all the teams wanting to get him, but no one that actually made a huge move. Because the Nets would have traded him if they had something good in return. But no one did. Again, the Raptors didn't want to trade Scotty Barnes. So I think Kevin Durant, interestingly, might be too high on this list. Like, I think Anthony Edwards would be... Yeah, I think Anthony Edwards should be higher on this list, higher than Kevin Durant. So Book at 9. Too bad he's injured this year because he was playing amazing. And clearly the Suns are nothing without him. The thing is, Book, what is he now? He's 26 years old in his 8th season. I sort of think he is what he is. And what he is an amazing player, but I might put SGA in front of Book. Like, yeah, maybe not for this year, but I think in the future, SGA is going to be that guy. I might put him ahead of Book. The Untouchables. Zion. Really? If I was the Pelicans, you don't think about trading him? If you can get SGA? Right? Shouldn't SGA be ahead of Zion? With the huge injury concerns? That has to come into play here. One spot ahead of Embiid, who also has injury concerns and also hasn't looked great in the playoffs. I can't say I'm too excited about 8 and 7 on this list. Group A, completely and utterly untouchable. Ja, Tatum, Curry, Jokic, Doncic, and Giannis. The thing is, you can't really say much. Giannis, best player in the league. Best player in the league. Luka, second. Jokic, third. I think I agree with that in terms of, you know, just the best 3 players in the league. Steph at 4. Tatum at 5. I don't think Boston would trade Tatum for Morant. I actually don't think Memphis would trade Morant for Tatum. But we're picking hairs here. So I think the top of this list is very good. Once we get to 7, 8, 9, like, actually, I think I might put SGA 7. I think I might. Even Anthony Edwards at like 8 or something. Now Mobley's 2. I think Halliburton might be 9. I think that might be my list right there. So, Simmons, man, he did a great job putting this list together. The NBA ranked trade value rankings. There's also the top 100 rankings, the League Pass player rankings. This was really fun. You know, he did a great job, but definitely some things I disagree on, but won't we all have disagreements? Thanks for checking out the Bloomer Deals video today, y'all. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Trade value rankings. Glad to do the live reaction. Definitely going to do this in the future for other rankings that come out. Pumped to be here. Pumped to bring this to you. Have a good day. And actually, I think I'm getting some Shams reports. Let's check out ESPN right now. Oh, I knew it! Okay, Captain Marvel, whatever you are. Wow. We also get a live reaction. Nets trading Kyrie Irving to the Mavs. What are they giving up? Holy shit. Nets are trading Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks are sending Finney Smith, Dinwiddie, 29 first round and 2 second round picks into the Nets in exchange for Irving. Kyrie and Luka as a duo, interesting. Huge usage players. Is Kyrie going to be happy with Luka being the fucking man? Wow. And did the Nets get enough in exchange? What did the Lakers offer? Did they offer the 2 first round picks plus only 1 first round pick? And, you know, some throw-in players and 2 second rounders. I mean, I guess that's why Bill Simmons didn't have Kyrie on the trade value list. I mean, it was too hard to sort of try to understand, but the Mavs didn't give up that much. I mean, if you're the Mavs, you're taking a flyer on them. The thing is, Luka and Kyrie is maybe not the best fit. We'll see. Damn, we'll see. So, KD went with Kyrie to the Brooklyn Nets. KD was going to go to the New York Knicks, by the way. Kyrie talked him into going to the Brooklyn Nets. Together, they missed their first season. Then they got Harden to come. Then Harden asked out. Then KD asked out, but they fucking kept him. Now Kyrie asked out, and he's gone. And KD's left. Oh, man, I feel bad for KD. He should have stuck in Golden State, man. This sucks for him. I wonder if they've been in touch, Kyrie and KD, because they're supposedly homies. I wonder if KD sort of gave Kyrie the blessing to leave, because Kyrie was upset with the contract situation, which, Kyrie, you literally have left the team during COVID, and then you were spotted at a club. You've left the team for, you know, your other random shit that you get into. You've said anti-Semitic stuff that made you get, you know, suspended. You don't deserve the money, bro. We'll see if the Mavs give him the money. We'll see if him and Luka can do well together. All right. We'll see, guys. Over and out. Good thing I checked ESPN. I thought I saw my Shams Twitter notifications coming up as I was recording this vid. Bloomer Deals. Like and subscribe. Appreciate you tuning in. Bill Simmons, The Ringer, Trade Value Rankings. Woo-wee. Let's go. Peace out, homies. Boom.